Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of The Grandstand here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm, as always, your host, AR the Ohio Patriot. And for today's episode, we're going to talk about scumbag cunt Mike Dewine and why he needs to be thrown out of the governorship and in prison right now. So basically, as I was saying, I think it was yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, maybe the day before that, you had him announce a couple days ago that as of this morning, he was going to basically hold a press conference, more or less, on what he was going to do with House Bill 68. For those who don't know what House Bill 68 is basically, if this had actually been signed into law, it would have banned minors from being sterilized in the state of Ohio with so-called gender-affirming care, which is nothing more than literal child sterilization drugs like HRT, etc. there, that they're putting these young kids on before they even hit puberty is what it is there. So they never have a puberty. They're really permanently sterilized eventually is what it is. It's the same exact drugs you put fucking child molesters in prison on, by the way. And it would also have banned would have banned dudes competing in girl sports, basically is what it is. Would have been the second thing there. And of course, dickhead Dewine about an hour ago vetoed this. Because why wouldn't he? Like I said before, dude, the motherfucker is termed out from office right now. He has nothing left to lose at this point. He was a scumbag RINO sack of shit. He should have been allowed to run for re-election in the state after the shit he pulled in 2020, honestly. He should have already been impeached over 3 years ago for the 442 days of tyranny he put Ohioans under between 2020 and 2021 with lockdowns. For pushing fucking jabs on everybody, the Vax-A-Million bullshit. Money that was supposed to be allocated. Misuse of funds, by the way. That's another thing that should impeach his ass on right now. Because this cocksucker misused the fucking funds that were supposed to go to a fourth round of COVID checks back in 2020/2021 at a state level to Ohio taxpayers, but instead he stole that fucking money and made some bullshit fucking thing to get everybody fucking jabbed up. Why was that? Was it because maybe he was taking kickbacks from Big Pharma? Just like I'm assuming he's doing right now with this shit currently? The same fucking doctors, the same fucking piece of shit fucking companies that are making these fucking drugs to sterilize children. It would make sense. It would make a lot of sense. So for this morning, I've called my state rep, I've called the Speaker of the House, and I've called the Senate President. And told all of them, I said, override Dewine's veto and impeach this motherfucker. And I actually said impeach this motherfucker to the voicemail of Senate President Matt Hoffman. It's the first time I've ever cursed in a professional manner to one of these people, and that's because I was that pissed off this morning. They need to do this shit already, dude. Because if they don't, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do right now. Come the new year, and this is a reason why I feel like I have not done anything right now to actually run for office currently as a Stark County Commissioner potentially to get in that primary next year. And I think it's because I had bigger things in my mind is what it was there. I think I had a gut feeling is what it was. You know, call it intuition, call it, you know, a message from higher power, whatever the case be. That something was going to have to happen to where maybe I was going to need to be in a position where I could potentially take over the governorship. Which is possible at this point, by the way. Under Article 1, Section 2 of the Ohio Constitution. Which is basically recalling Mike Dewine's ass from office at this point. And submitting my own name to run for office then. To run for the governorship. To have a special election for the governorship. Because John Husted does not need to be in that office, dude. Neither did most of the people in the line of succession right now. I mean, technically, Hoffman would be not a bad one. If we'd actually do the line of succession stuff, they impeached both Dewine and Husted. Like Hoffman taking over for, you know, the next 2.5 years, give or take, or not quite 2.5 years, about 2 years, give or take. It would be long. No. Yeah, no, I think it'd be exactly 24 months, give or take. 25, something like that. But is when it would actually end off because it would be January of 2027 would be the actual final like days is what would be there when you have a new governor then being appointed into office is what would be there after that election cycle of 2026. So yeah, like Hoffman wouldn't be a bad one for a couple of years, honestly. Jason Stevens, yeah. Frank LaRose, hell no. Dave Yost, who is like way down at the bottom, potentially maybe. But again, if you'd have to go all the way through the rest of the line of succession to get to him, it's like, how corrupt is this state really is what it is, you know what I'm saying? But that's the whole point right now, right? Like, you had the General Assembly pass this legislation for a reason, dude. You had Ohio that could have been a forefront to stopping medical experimentation on children, for God's sakes. But what does Dewine do? Oh, no, I'm going to wait until pretty much the last day I can fucking sign this shit or veto it or whatever the case be. I'm just going to veto it. And that's the thing, right? That's what's even more fucked up about the whole situation here. He could have literally let this shit sit on his desk for another day or two, and it would have just become law immediately without a signature. Like, I don't know about like, I don't know if it was actually immediately because I don't know if they had appropriation for it or not. But like, it would have basically been, if they did appropriation, it would have been immediately. If they had did not do an appropriation for this legislation, it would have been 90 days from now. So it would be like April 2024. It would just become law. That's what it is. And what's even more messed up about this whole thing is they even watered the shit down before they passed it through. Is what it was, dude. There could have been a much better, much cleaner bill there that would have just stopped child sterilization across the board in the state of Ohio. But instead, you actually had people in the General Assembly, Republicans, etc. there. You know, whether they be RINOs or not, I don't know. But they gave in to Democrats. They didn't have to, by the way, but they did. To allow for kids that it might be, you know, worse to take them off the shit at this point. That maybe it would make them suicidal if they were off of it. But how the fuck are we still allowing this cocksucker to be in office at this point, dude? You know, I have videos on this channel that are private right now from 3-4 years ago where I was calling for this asshole's impeachment back then for the shit he was pulling during lockdowns. Obviously, some people did their job there. There was a couple of them, honestly. It was Candace Keller and a few others there. But of course, you had a bunch of RINOs be like, oh, no, we don't want to do that now. Yeah. It's just shit. It's a bunch of shit, dude, entirely. It's fucking disgusting is what it is. And then, of course, you got some of these literal fucking child predators that represent the various fucking, like, trans fucking groups and shit like that, whether it be the Equality Ohio that's paid for by George Soros and company like that, whether it be the fucking ACLU, whether it be the fucking ADL, whatever it was there, etc., being like, oh, this is such a great win for us now. You didn't win shit, motherfuckers. You didn't win anything. What you got was a fucking spineless, coward, old piece of shit who has been in office in various stages of career politicianhood, which is what I'm going to call it at this point, since 1976. 9 years before I was born, asshole Mike Dewine was a fucking county prosecutor in his home county. Then went on to do other shady shit, get into other offices. Proceeded to go into Congress, U.S. Senate, etc. Proceeded to be part of our General Assembly for a while, as well on that one, back in the 80s. Leading up to the eventual congressional runs and the eventual Senate runs and stuff like that. Till eventually, taking a little bit of time after he lost re-election, because everybody knew he was a little RINO bitch back then, dude. You know somebody's a RINO bitch, dude? When they'll vote with Democrats on fucking gun control. That's what Dewine did back in the day when he was in the U.S. Senate, U.S. Congress, dude. I'm pretty sure he was a yes vote on the AWB in '94, if not mistaken. Because I'm pretty sure he was the U.S. Congressman at the time at that point in time history then. Like, this is the thing. This is why we need auto DQs from office at this point, dude. It's for real. This man had no business even being allowed to be in office at this point in history. after the fucking garbage he pulled against the people in the state 3 years ago. Almost 4 years ago now. So yeah, we're calling on the General Assembly right now. Impeach Dewine's ass. Override the fucking veto. Put HB68 on the books as law at this point, dude. Do what needs to be done for the children of this state. There is a reckoning coming, motherfuckers. We are in a war of good versus evil. You're either on the side of God, the angels, the archangels, etc., or you're on the side of fucking Lucifer and demons. And it's as simple as that. There's no in between at this point. So unless you are morally bankrupt, unless you are morally corrupt, unless you are a fucking corrupt career politician piece of shit yourself, and know that if DeWine goes down, you're going to go down with him at that point, you will sign an override of DeWine's bullshit veto here. But if you are a fucking spineless rhino coward sack of shit, just leave fucking office right now, dude. And on your way out the door, make sure you pass a piece of legislation that allows for special elections in Ohio so that people like myself can actually run and replace your fucking piece of shit asses instead of having your little dickhead fucking rhino buddies decide, oh, we're just going to elect a new fucking piece of shit here is what it is ourselves. That's what they do, by the way. They select somebody else is what it is then. The same thing with Democrats in the state of Ohio, which I never fucking understood, by the way. Like, since I've really been following politics in this state for the past, like, 5-6 years now, it's one thing that just blew my fucking mind when I found out about it, dude. It's like, who the hell thought this was a good idea to give these assholes the power to basically kick somebody out of the General Assembly for whatever reason, and then be like, we have the power to replace them now. No, that's a special election thing, dude. You want to kick them out? That's one thing. We, the people, have the legal fucking right under the U.S. Constitution of the United States of America to replace that person in a special election. And that includes running for that seat ourselves. So, anyway. But, yeah, we got a couple. Let's go to the X page here. You got a few people that have called DeWine's ass out already. You had Riley Gaines was one of the biggest ones that called out piece of shit DeWine there. Yeah, it was breaking Ohio Governor Mike DeWine vetoes House Bill 68, which would have banned, quote-unquote, gender-affirming care for minors. If there's one thing I cannot stand about the mainstream media, it's that whole fucking gender-affirming care horseshit, dude. It's a fucking lie. You're not caring for these kids at all, motherfuckers. You're sterilizing children, for God's sakes. You are literally putting kids on hormone blockers that are going to stop them from having puberty in their entire lives and effectively have their entire bloodline wiped out after them because of that. Because they can never have kids. Because you're now sterilizing. You might as well take a young girl and give her a fucking tubal ligation at that point. You might as well take a young boy and give him a fucking vasectomy, for God's sakes. That's what you're fucking doing with these goddamn drugs, dude, for real. You are chemically castrating children, for fuck's sakes. And people wonder why I'm fucking pissed right now, dude. This is literally demonic evil that we are facing against right now. And as I've said many, many times in these grandstands and everything else on this channel, whether it be Buckshot Thursdays, Freedom Fridays, etc., we are heading towards civil war in this nation. And there's no stopping it at this point, honestly. It's just what is going to be the final straw that breaks the fucking camel's back in half at this point, man. What is going to be the final string pulled on the pendulum where it swings and snaps and fucking annihilates everybody in its wake at that point. Because that's where we're heading right now. We're heading for that scene from Game of Thrones where you have Cersei blow up the sept and the fucking bell kills a bunch of people. That's the shit we're going down right now, people. And I mean that seriously. And this right here is just more proof of that. And it makes me wonder, and honestly, this is exactly why I want them to impeach DeWine right now, because I want investigations open to this motherfucker of exactly how much kickbacks he's taking from Big Pharma at this point. Because you know damn well he's taking from Big Pharma at this point, dude. Whether it be from the pharmaceutical companies that are making the drugs, HRT drugs, or whether it be other drugs for that matter that sterilize these children for that matter. or whether it be the fucking various companies that are behind the trans surgeries of these young kids is what it is there, dude. Or whether it be this entire time he's been in that pocket of Planned Parenthood, for God's sake, for all fucking know. Because they're the ones pushing this a lot, actually. You know, like that's the one thing we've seen in the last year or two now. Since you've had the whole Roe versus Wade overturning, and you've had it taken back to the states now, you had Planned Parenthood specifically. They were in the baby murder business, dude, for a long time in their lives. There's what it was. You know, almost 50 years is what it was there. And they shifted shit in the last couple of years. Here's what it was. Fucking demographic now to literally pushing trans surgeries on children, to having kids come in for various doctors, you know, the so-called gender affirming care appointments is what it really was, honestly, that one. Where they sit down with these 15 minutes to a half hour and they'd be like, okay, Sally, you want to be Timmy now? Okay, Timmy, you want to be Sally now? Cool. You know, how long is it going to take us to get on you on the hormone drugs now? Testosterone, estrogen, etc. Oh, we can do it in about 15, 20 minutes? Cool, cool. Here's your prescriptions now, kids. Hell, I actually heard a good one the other day now, where you have Planned Parenthood in Virginia. They are now illegally, behind parents' backs, without parental consent, literally driving kids across state line for abortions. And it's like, seriously, at what point do we put these fuckers in prison, dude? Minimum in prison. Like, seriously, if this is our founding fathers' day, bro, we'd be building fucking gallows right now for these fucking people. For these literal demon-possessed fucking humans at this point, dude. That's what they are at this point in history, honestly. You cannot honestly tell me that half these people are not demonically possessed anymore. 100% they are. We should actually be doing open-air exorcisms on people right now, dude. Where you have priests literally getting out a Bible that's written in fucking Latin and doing Latin phrases, tossing holy water on their asses and shit at that point. And I would not be the least bit surprised if it was something straight out supernatural where you see black smoke just shoot out somebody's fucking mouth after that, if that's the case then. And it was the demon literally escaping back to hell is what it was then. But yeah, it's just absolutely fucking infuriating, dude. It really is. And like I said, the worst part of the whole thing is Dewine could have just been a whatever governor at that point. He could have just been like, yeah, I don't really want to sign this, but I'm not going to veto it either, kind of thing is what it is. He could have just been like, oh yeah, I'm going to make an announcement. Yeah, I'm just going to sit here and do nothing, basically. Like, that's what he could have done, honestly, this morning, this afternoon area, is what it was here. He could have just come out and been like, here's the deal, man. I've talked to people. I've done my research. I'm not going to do anything with this whole thing. It's just going to sit on my desk until it becomes law. That's what he could have said, legitimately. And at least then, you would have known the guy was sort of a spineless coward sack of shit, because he wasn't willing to sign it, is what it was. But at least he was willing to do enough to not veto it then. But no, he couldn't even do that, man. He went full fucking RINO, sack of shit, straight Democrat. Fucking little leprechaun piece of shit right there, dude, Mike DeWine. That's a literal sack of crap, dude, in general. So. Absolutely disgusting is what it is, dude. This whole thing should piss everybody off right now. It really should, dude. Trying to see. I wonder what Vivek is saying in this video here. I wonder if he's actually talking about Ohio or not. That'd be interesting if he was. Okay, no, this was last night, actually. So, never mind. Yeah, I know he actually posted a video here not long ago, though, where he was taught. It was one of the old videos where he was talking about Chloe Cole and a couple other people that were detransitioners in this country. And he was discussing about some various topics. There's what it was. So, anyway. Okay, let's see. Vivek is talking about Democrats using mass migration to basically steal elections. Let's see what else he's saying here. All right, here we go. 51 minutes. Truth. Trans is a mental health disorder. It is not humane to, quote, affirm the confusion of those who are mentally ill, is what he said there. And this was the, let me go. Pull this up right now. Talk about it. This was the time that he met with Chloe Cole, who's the one in the brown right here. And then I forget who this other chick is, but she was basically another detransitioner girl who, both these girls are obviously biological females that were told when they were, 10, 11, 12, 13, whatever it was there, that they were trans men. They had that shit pushed on them by teachers, etc. And then you've had them, go through a bunch of horrible stuff in their lives. Chloe herself went through a double mastectomy by the time she was like 14 or 15. Then detransitioned by the time she was, I believe, 16 and a half or so, give or take. And is now advocating against people allowing kids to transition is what it is there, which rightfully so, man. Again, like, you should know firsthand, you're going to be the one that is fucked up from being a lifetime experiment from these big pharmaceutical fucking companies, dude. And what's even more fucked up, and I've talked about this before on this channel, there was a drug back in the day. It was actually talked about in that Call the Midwife series, and I think it was season 5 or so of that show. It was I'm probably going to pronounce the name wrong, but it's something like throletomide or something like that. And basically what it was a morning sickness drug back in the day, like in the 50s, 60s time period there is what it was. And what was interesting was the drug manufacturers behind this drug, which was produced for the UK and the US both, it was what it was there. I think a couple other countries too, for that matter, like basically a bunch of white European nations is what it was essentially. These drug makers knew this fucking drug had a shitload of fucking side effects to it within the first year that was going to cause deformities of children. That if the expectant mothers were to take this shit, their kid could be born with no legs, no hands, no arms, no eyes for that matter, literally have half their jaw gone, have cleft palates, have all kinds of crazy shit like that. But yet, because of greed, very similar case here with Dewine's ass, they let this shit stay on the market for years, dude. Decades, actually, is what it was. To the point there, it was not until about the last 10 years or so that you finally had the children who were affected by this shit actually get any kind of compensation. It took them over 50 years to get any kind of financial compensation for the horrible experimentation that was done to them in the womb. And we're seeing the reason I bring that up is because we're seeing the exact same bullshit with these trans surgeries. We are seeing individuals have their entire bloodline in the stroke of a fucking drug just wiped out. Being put on some fucking hormone drugs, being put on some fucking opposite cross-sex drugs. And then you wonder, and again, we've talked about this many times on this channel, people wonder why the so-called trans community has their fucking entire set of people there have suicide fucking skyrocket in them, dude. When you're putting young boys on estrogen, when you're putting young girls in testosterone, of course they're going to fucking be all suicidal and shit, dude. When you're putting them on hormone drugs that are blocking their puberty from actually happening, and it's fucking them up chemically and stuff like that, of course they're going to want to take their own fucking lives. I talked about the other day with that fucking Laura Robertson Boyd bitch. There's a reason why this sick-ass fucking Munchausen syndrome by proxy cunt sits there and tries to claim she has 2 trans kids and both have tried to commit suicide at this point. It doesn't take a fucking genius to figure it out, lady. You're the fucking problem. You're the fucking child abuser who should be in jail for this shit. And the exact same thing with Mike DeWine at this point. Because this fucking asshole vetoed legislation that is allowing for psychological and physical child abuse of every kid in the state of Ohio right now, where adults want to put them on fucking hormone drugs or anything else for that matter. They want to sit there and claim trans kids bullshit. They want to sit there and turn their fucking 10-year-old son into a fucking daughter. That was another one I heard last night, by the way. Where it was this fucking family was like, oh, our trans daughter, who's 10 years old, oh, she wants Mike DeWine to veto this bullshit. No, you sick-ass motherfuckers. And I know for, like, looking at the fucking picture of the mother and father and stuff, dude, it's 100% the mom that was behind making her son a fucking girl. And this sick bitch, man, is not in prison for it. The father's not in prison for a fucking accessory to child abuse. And like I've said several times in these grandstands and everything else like that, some of these kids would be better off in CPS care at this point, dude. Because at least they wouldn't be under the care of some sick fuck. Some literal mental patient who should be in a fucking nut house someplace. Who has much on something about proxy or trans housing or whatever the hell it is called now at this point. People keep trying to change names and shit is what it is now. But yeah, it's all the same thing at the end of the day. You know? It's these people that are so fucked in the head that we're not giving the mental help that they need to where they're now pushing this shit on kids and trying to create a trend. And that's what's even worse too for the matter. You know, I remember growing up in high school, you know, late 90s, early 2000s is what it was there. I was a freshman during 9/11. Should have actually been a sophomore at that point, but that's besides the point. You know, it was actually back when we held kids back that couldn't actually pass the grade. We weren't Bush's stupid ass, no child left behind bullshit is what it was. But anyway, I digress. The entire point I'm trying to make is, though, you know, it was back in my day, you know, early 2000s, stuff like that. It was cool to be gay. That was the fucking trend at the time. It was cool to be gay. You know what the difference between being gay and being trans is? You don't get put on fucking hormone drugs for being gay, bro. You're just like, oh, I'm gay now. Or, oh, I'm a lesbian now, whatever the case be. And then eventually, fad wears off, and you're just like, no, I'm actually straight. Or it could be somebody just being like, I'm actually just bisexual, whatever the case be. Which, again, whatever. But no, with these kids that they want to sit there and claim a transgender, man, they are literally sterilizing these children. They're putting them on drugs to where they can never come back from this shit. I guarantee you, if someone like Chloe Cole tried to get pregnant right now, depending on the kind of drugs that she was on, she'll probably never get pregnant. Because she's probably barren at this point, dude. She probably has no eggs left, is what it is from that whole thing. From being put on testosterone for years of her life. From being given a double mastectomy under the age of 16. You know, I've listened to that girl's story, and it makes me fucking cry. It does. Because she's not the only one, by the way. I've heard so many of these kids' stories that just bring me to fucking tears, dude. That are detransitioners in this country. That their parents and them were lied to by these sick, fucking greedy sons of bitches in the medical industry. In Chloe's case, literally having her and her parents told, oh, do you want a dead daughter or a live son? What the fuck kind of shit is that, man? Where the hell is do no harm? Literally, the first thing you learn in the fucking medical doctoring in this country is the motto, do no harm. When you are literally telling parents and a child, oh, this kid's going to kill themselves if they don't transition, you are fucked in the head, and your ass needs to be in prison for child abuse, motherfucker. You need to have your medical license stripped immediately at that point. And I'm talking to these pieces of shit here in Ohio, like Anita Samani, like Beth Liston, two fucking Democrat females that have been in the Ohio General Assembly at least an election cycle at this point. Have no business being in there, either one of them do. When you have Samani literally just getting in there last year is what it was, only being there for about a year now, give or take. This sick cunt admitting to doing trans surgeries on kids, dude. You got Liston, who is also a child pediatrician, who was also admitted to doing fucking various shit with these kids, giving them fucking referrals to other places and stuff like that. Hell, during the hearings for HB68, you literally had people being called out then that were actual so-called like trans kids rights groups and stuff like that, who they were straight up asking them, they're like, hey, are you giving referrals for these children as minors to go get fucking trans surgeries? And they're just like, because they know if they say yes, they're fucking on the hook right now for criminal charges, dude. So of course they're gonna do fucking double speak word salad bullshit to where they basically say yes without saying yes. To where it's like, well, we can kind of do that stuff, but are we doing that stuff? Maybe, and like shit like that. Basically, what it was they were saying. There's what it was. But yeah, they were freely admitting they were doing that shit. Is what it was. They just weren't saying straight up yes or no. Is what it was there. So. It happened to my second cousin, actually. That's why I was going to write that book a year ago. Never got a chance to start it, actually. I had like various stories I was going to talk about in that one, but yeah. About, trying to think now. About a year and a half or so ago, give or take. It was summer of 2021. Or no. Sorry, 2022. Sorry, my mind's... I don't know why I keep thinking... Yeah, my mind is like blanking what year it is anymore, dude. It's like all coming together is what it is there. But yeah, so basically, again, been, like I said, 440 days of tyranny, dude. 2020, 2021, gone. But yeah, so it's basically summer of 2022. Came to find out that my second cousin wanted to call herself a trans man now. And she had double mastectomy. And has gone through some other stuff, being put on hormone blockers and stuff like that. Specifically, it was testosterone and stuff like that, take away all of her estrogen and stuff like that is what it was there. And yeah, it's horrible, man. It really is. And it just blows me away, honestly, how these people are allowed to get away with this shit, man. And it's the same, by the way, I could go through a laundry list right now of stuff with Dewine should be impeached upon. Because it's not only just this, it's not only just the trans stuff, dude. It's the crimes committed from 2020 lockdowns. It's the fucking jab stuff. It's the fucking when he's literally been signing in executive order crap to bring illegals into the state under the guise of darkness and literally mass import the fucking third world into our country, into our state. You have no legal right to do that, motherfucker. That should be voter referendums at that point, dude. And the people that are voting yes on it should be the ones housing these fucking people, by the way. So yeah, it's just, oh my God, man. Like, oh, Jesus Christ. Man, I just gotta. Calm yourself, Adam. I'm gonna do what needs to be done to make sure that this motherfucker is no longer governor in 2024. And if that means it's literally working with General Assembly to impeach his ass, or if that means they're going to be a bunch of spineless fucking cowards too, and it means start impeaching everybody at that point then, or it's not impeach, but like recall them is what it is with Article 162 of the Ohio Constitution, where you can do that. You can literally dissolve the government here is what it is. I mean, what we have to do, honestly, dude. Just dissolve the shit and start completely fresh is what it would be then. Now, granted, what that would look like, I have no idea. Would it get that far? Maybe, maybe not. But the entire point of the matter is, it's like, yeah, something needs to change here, man. 100%. And like I said, maybe it isn't. Maybe Jason Stevens is the fucking key at this point, Like, yeah, he had to make some backdoor deals with Democrats to get into office, but like, it seems like, honestly, a lot of the stuff he's done since then, as Speaker in the last, 10, 11 months now is what it is, has actually benefited the state quite a bit, actually. Has benefited people like myself, actually, as a Republican voter. Because there was a bunch of shit that he basically did, like backdoor promises to Allison Russo about and stuff like that, where he's like, oh, yeah, I'm not going to bring this up to the table, but I'll bring this shit up to the table, whatever the case be, and like sort of like throw in like various shit at her and be like, yeah, you guys vote me in there and I'm going to give you all the fucking things you want for all this other stupid leftist bullshit. And then he basically like immediately fucking turned to the right is what it was and was like, nah, bitch, fuck off. As soon as he got there into the speakership was what it was. Now, granted, he has done some shady shit too, for that matter, before all that, though, is what it was. So he has given like concessions to them and stuff, obviously, for like committee chairs and whatnot, and like specifically Alison Russo being now the minority leader here, even though she should be in prison right now for literally taking a bribe from Osmane Action back in 2021 during the House Oversight Committee hearing for constitutional carry. But yeah, it just again, I wish I had multiple manpowers right now, honestly, because I would have an army of clones out there, dude, doing the work right now, doing the signature gathering work, all that good stuff like that's what it is. So yeah, and that's what, especially when you look at federally in Congress / Senate, you know, if they're coming together for an omnibus bill or something like that, man, they're just fucking you all over. They're doing what they have to do to basically insider trade like crazy, and then fucking over the American people again, dude. That's one thing that really does piss me off, even when people like Lauren Boebert now, because she was supposed to be running for re-election. Here's what it was in Colorado. There, I forget what her original district was. There is what it is, but now there's like talk of her basically them trying to unseat her in that seat, specifically in that district. And so she's like, yeah, I'm going to change districts now because they're trying to steal my seat. And it's like, well, first of all, Lauren, it's not actually your seat. It's a congressional district you happen to be holding at the time is what it is there. It's not like, you know, District 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever was your seat. And for you to say that is honestly why you should get your fucking ass out of office right now, bitch. Especially when you were fucking like blowing that fucking Democrat dude in the fucking theater that day. Like you showed your RINO colors then, bitch. Like, so that's the problem with some of these people too, is what it is, dude. Like, and it seems like it's almost as soon as they get to power too. Like they'll sit there. Like here's the thing right now, where people that don't know this, by the way, this is actually the whole deal when it comes to political office. When you actually, and because I've seen these actual swearing-in ceremonies over the last few years, what it is here, I've watched them and stuff. So what happens is you'll have these people get elected into office, you know, in November election cycles, you know, whether it be an off year or a midterm election, or whether it be presidential year election and stuff like that. So it'll be either like 24 or 26 or 28, whatever the case be here. And so they'll get in, they'll start their term the next year, the next January, you know, like depending on when Congress starts their stuff is what it is. But I think it's around like the 5th or 6th of the, no, sorry, I think it's around the 3rd of the month is what it is there. It's like the next day, like the 4th or 5th is when states like Ohio start ours is what it is then. And so it's like the 4th of January, they'll have them come back into office. They'll sit there. They'll do their stuff or whatever for the year. They will literally go out, have a swearing-in ceremony of people, like 5, 6 at a time, whatever it is there. And they'll take an oath to office on the U.S. Constitution and the state constitution. And then as soon as that happens, they will then start voting on positions. In the state house, they'll vote on speaker. In the state senate, they'll vote on president, etc. there. For senate president. And then it's basically after that, when those people are voted in, they'll start to basically do the alignments for, you know, various positions for committee chairs and stuff like that. Like whether it be, you know, House Ways and Means Committee or, you know, Senate Oversight Committee, whatever the case be there. They'll appoint these people and stuff like that is what it is there. And so what you had back in the beginning of this year here is you had Jason Stevens getting 32 Democrats on his side and then having 22 Republicans also join him to vote his ass in the speakership. There's what it was. And then it became a whole shit show for days and days to weeks, actually. And actually, I'm not going to lie, that particular time between like January and February of this year was actually one of the best times in Ohio history because You had nothing being passed. You had no bullshit being passed. You had nothing happening in the government, dude. Because there was such a clusterfuck going on there, power grabs and everything else, like that's what it was. And committee chair appointments, everything else like that being done up, and Derek Marin being like, "This is fucking bullshit. Like I should be in this position," because that's the thing, right? You had Derek last year, 2022, was literally told in a backdoor meeting of the Republican caucus, GOP people there, they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna vote you in the speakership," is what it was, bro. And then all of a sudden, you had Jason Stevens do his power grab this year, is what it was. So, and now of course you had these Republicans voted for Jason Stevens, some of them actually defecting back to the Republican Party under Derek Marin's leadership, so it was there. And you've had a bunch of people on that side of things as well who have turned various things. You've had Reddit stories and stuff like that for the Summit for Ohio this year, where you've had people in the last 6 months or so talk about the Blue 22, which is the ones that voted for Stevens that were Republicans and stuff like that. And you have Senate President Matt Hoffman, who is going to be termed out of the state Senate after this coming year is what it is, 2024 here. So it'll be some point in 2024. And mind you, there's a reason why we have term limits on both sides of the aisle for, what the House and the Senate is what it is. It's called, you had 8 years to get the fuck out. But instead, what you'll have is every single election cycle, Democrats or Republicans both, they will simply be termed out and flip-flop the General Assembly. Same thing as Thomas did last year. He did to the State House. You had Paula Hicks Hudson do it to the State Senate. And I think they took over each other's like districts is what it was, basically is what it was there. And so forth and so on. Completely illegal shit, by the way. Completely nullifies the whole point of having term limits in the state entirely. And there's been talk now what's going to happen here pretty soon is the end of this coming election cycle here for the presidential election cycle of 2024. You would have Matt Hoffman being termed out of office then, trying to jump over to the State House again, run for some district over the State House here, and all the people that voted for Jason Stevens potentially being primaried by Hoffman's people. So essentially it's a coup with the Republican Party is what it is there. And in doing so, if they're able to do that by the end of this coming next year here is what it is, by next November and stuff, well, specifically it'd be next May, so May 2024 is the primaries would be there. If they're able to pull off this coup, basically, you would have a bunch of these Republicans that voted for Jason Stevens now out of office, and you'd have a bunch of replacements that would be Matt Hoffman's yes men is what it would be. Which would be an interesting thing to happen because if all that were to cement itself and come together and unify and stuff like that, you would then be able to have Matt Hoffman challenge Jason Stevens in 2025 for the speakership and probably win. That's if Stevens is even in office at all for that matter, because he might actually be primaried himself by one of Hoffman's yes men and stuff like that. So, and this is why I've talked a couple times on here about this, because what I would like to actually see happen is people under my leadership, under the network's leadership is what it is here, we start doing grassroots stuff for next year. And we completely flip the fucking script on all these assholes. And we take down as many seats as possible is what it would be there in General Assembly. And we create the Constitutional Caucus is what it would be then. And we actually start doing stuff based on both the U.S. and the Ohio constitutions to where we would have enough power ourselves then to start dealing with the corruption at the State House is what it is there. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. I don't think it will, honestly, unfortunately, just because of the fact that it would take so much financially to be really a grassroots candidate. Not to mention, having dozens of them potentially is what would be there that we just can't afford to financially back these people is what would be there. So, anyway. But, yeah, it sucks, man. It really does. And I'm really fucking pissed at Dewine today is what it is, man. I have a right to be at this point because the guy's a fucking scumbag sack of shit. Oh shit, I just realized something. Fuck me. I should have done this earlier. I literally just remembered that I was in the game I played. We were having our last kill event chronicle thing right now, and I completely forgot to reset my stuff to not be sniped out basically. So hopefully I'm not all fucked up right now. All right, let's see here. Make sure my shit's not on fire here for the next several hours. I don't think we will be, but who knows? Yeah, I gotta get all my things done here then. Make sure that's all finished up then. But yeah, it's just absolutely disgusting, dude, to see what Dewine has done to the state. And just seeing how fucked up our state's become under his leadership is what it is, man. To where, like I said, the only reason this son of a bitch has even done stuff like pass constitutional carry or stand your ground, anything like that in the last few years was to literally get reelected. That's the only reason, dude. That's the only reason we have constitutional carry right now, or stand your ground for that matter, in the state of Ohio, is because this asshole was like, oh yeah, let me go ahead and get reelected now. Oh, how am I going to get reelected? Oh, I got to pass all this pro-gun legislation now to make sure I get reelected in office. And that's what he did. And what's even worse, actually, if that piece of shit Joe Blystone, another scumbag criminal RINO in this fucking state, had that cocksucker simply bow out of the fucking race, you could have either had everybody get behind ex-state rep Ron Hood and Candace Keller for their governorship, lieutenant governorship run, or they could have got behind Jim Renacci. Now, granted, did I really want to see Renacci in there either? Hell no. Renacci's just as bad as Dewine is, dude. He's a sack of shit. He's a fucking complete piece of crap in general. He should actually be sharing a prison cell with Mike Dewine right now for crimes against community and stuff like that. For various, medical crap and jab shit and everything else like that. That's what it is, man. So, but yeah, the best choice for that primary last year would have been everybody just backing Ron Hood. And the real problem was, again, going back to the money financial situations there, is that Ron Hood, being an ex-state rep and not having a bunch of money, not having the millions of dollars in the coffers like Dewine's piece of shit ass had, you had Hood not be able to financially get name recognition fast enough in there. So he was basically behind the 8 ball the entire time, to where he was trying to get into office, but unfortunately for him, it was basically a situation of, yeah, I can only run like this certain little small ass campaign at the end and like jump in like a few weeks before it was actually over is what it was there. So he had really no time to actually get anything done is what it was there, and get any real fight and get any real support or backing, anything like that, dude. So it really does just suck, man, because we could have had a way better governor right now. And the thing with Hood is he would have been pro-2A, he would have been pro-life, he would have been a bunch of pro-America stuff, legitimately. And honestly, it's one of the few times I do blame Donald Trump for stuff, dude, because he could have easily thrown his weight behind Ron Hood and gotten Ron Hood in the fucking governorship if he wanted to, but he chose not to. He chose to basically opt out entirely. So, yeah, it's just a bunch of scumbag shit entirely, dude, and I'm just so fucking sick of it. Anyway, going back to that article there about dickhead Dewine vetoing HB68, you got people in the comment section here saying it will be overruled, no worries, and then somebody else had time to override the veto. Let's see, then we got asshole out, and somebody else said real conservatives support child mutilation. Piece of shit in general, dude. Fuck that fucking guy. Fucking sack of shit, dude. See, and then we got Fox News talking about Dewine vetoing the SAFE Act. Here's what it was. I want to see if anybody's talking in the comment section of that thing or not there. Nope, doesn't look like it. Not yet anyway. Fucking just infuriating as shit right now, honestly. Actually, let's look up Dewine's name on X right now for a few minutes and see what people are saying about him right now. Okay, so you had Vivek chime in 2 minutes ago, is what it was here. So let's see. Vivek said there are only 2 genders. Boys shouldn't compete with girls in girls' sports. Kids shouldn't be subjected to genital mutilation or chemical castration when they suffer mental health lapses. Shame on Ohio Governor Mike Dewine for his failure. Yep, exactly. But you know what else, Vivek? Where the fuck were you last year, buddy? During that governor's primary, you, sir, could have foregone the presidency in this country. Simply got involved in the governor's race last year, got everybody else to bow the fuck out because you would have been the best choice against Dewine at that point, and you could have primaried that motherfucker out, and you could have been Governor Ramaswamy right now in Ohio. But nah, instead, you were nowhere to be found, dude. Even though technically, you, sir, as a, big tech guy, big pharma, bro, whatever the fuck you want to call yourself at that point, I'm not even sure. You made your money in a few different ways. There's what it was. But yeah, you were the only one that could have actually financially gone up against him and had the finances to back an actual pure fucking candidacy. But you were nowhere to be found, dog. Like, what the fuck, bro? It bothers me, dude. It does. It really does. And it does go to show more about Vivek being a Manchurian candidate in general. So, let's see what else we got here. We got DC Drano saying, remember what I said, never trust a politician who has spent nearly all their adult life running for office. They became emboldened to donors. Mike DeWine is one of these losers. He had terrible COVID policies. He botched the East Palestine response. Yes, he did. By the way, it's been almost a year since that one. And dickhead Biden still has yet to fucking visit East Palestine. Said now he vetoed a bill banning men from women's sports. Not only just that, he also, vetoed the bill that literally would have stopped child transitioning and literal fucking child sterilization is what it was there, buddy. So, yeah, that's what Raleigh Gaines sent an hour ago. It said, Governor Mike DeWine has vetoed HB68, a bill that would protect women's sports and prevent child mutilation. Fortunately, Ohio has the votes to override the veto. Governor Mike DeWine is a spineless coward that needs to be removed from office. Yep. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. So Aaron Reed person said, one, in a stunning move, Governor DeWine has just vetoed gender-affirming care ban for trans youth in Ohio, stating, quote, it is the parents who know their child best. Oh, you mean the same parents who should be in a fucking nut house for Munchausen syndrome by proxy there, Mike DeWine? Are you talking about the same parents like Laura Robertson Boyd, who talks about having 2 trans kids that have both tried to take their own lives? Again, because she herself should be in a fucking nut house. Legitimately, dog. Fucking DeWine, man. I'll tell you what a scumbag sack of shit. I gotta hurry up and finish this, though, pretty quick, though, because I gotta go do some stuff in a little while. But, yeah, just a bunch of shit in general, dude. Anyway, Aaron Girl said, DeWine cited discussions with parents, the Ohio Children's Hospital in his decision as well. Yeah. So see, that's what kind of makes me wonder, like, how much money do the Ohio Children's Hospitals kick back to DeWine in random donorships or random donations for his last year campaign, or whether it be some future fucking campaign or whatever the case be, or maybe not his campaign, but maybe like Husted's campaign or something like that for the governorship or 2026 there would be, who knows? Could be anything, man. Or it could be a situation of them just like literally giving fucking money to him and backdoor fucking bribes and shit like that, and all kinds of bribery scandal stuff would be then. Again, things that should all be investigated, and Mike DeWine's future impeachment is what it is here. So, but yeah, anyway. Yeah, and then you got this fucking pedo piece of crap right here, who was one of these sick-ass abusers, talking about Ohio Governor Mike DeWine has vetoed HB68, which would have banned gender-affirming care for trans youth. This is a huge win that we need to press them on a follow-up administrative process. Yeah, go fuck yourself, Alejandria, or the fuck you. I'm not even sure this fucking... Like, I like how they say she, her in the bio and stuff like that, dude, but I'm pretty sure that's actually a dude that transitioned into a chick. So... We also got breaking. DeWine vetoed a bill that would have banned gender-affirming surgery for minors and barred trans athletes from girls' sports. During a press conference, DeWine said the bill would have profound effect on children with gender dysphoria Once again, Democrats don't have to defeat conservatives. We do that to ourselves. Dewine's not conservative, by the way, guy. Let's talk about that one for a minute now. He's a RINO, spineless coward sack of shit, man. And literally, the only reason that Dewine is governor right now, bro, is because of the shit that fucking cunt John Kasich put into place back in 2013, where they made Ohio a two-party primary state, where it's either you vote for Democrats, you vote for Republicans, you have no fucking third option at all. There were over a dozen third-party candidates in Ohio in 2022 that should have had their names on the ballot with Mike DeWine and Nan Whaley, and not fucking one of them did, because they were all writing candidates. It's a bunch of shit, dude. Had any third party been recognized in this state, there would have been at least a third name on that fucking ballot, and you could have had a basically independent governor at this point. That would have been better than DeWine or Whaley's asses at that point, man. Seriously. So, not sure what that link is to, but can't. That's what I hate about fucking StreamYard thing. I can't really click. I can go like this and click on that, but it won't let me actually like grab the text and like go to it or whatever there. So I don't really feel like doing anything right now. Is what it is. I got too much stuff on my plate right now anyway, dude. So, oh god, so fucking sick of it, man. So then we got Western. Whatever that last word is there for the person's name, said moral cowardice. Governor Mike DeWine has vetoed a bill that would have banned child sex surgeries, and barred trans athletes and girls' sports. Recently, when asked about factors that would influence his decision, he said, and I quote, this is DeWine saying this, "My decision will be based on one thing, what I think is in the best interest of the children who would be impacted by the law." So DeWine believes that the best interest of the children in Ohio are served by the irreversible effects of genital mutilations and cross-sex hormones, along with males and female locker rooms and males competing in girls' sports. Repugnant moral cowardice. Yes, with Republicans like this, there's no need for Democrats. Exactly. Yeah, it's so fucking disgusting, dude. Let's see, this D person said $70K and up for a surgery that will leave them a slave to Big Pharma for the rest of their life. Yep, exactly. Exactly, dude. And that's exactly what it is at the end of the day. Like I said, the entire thing is to create lifetime patience is what it is. That's the entire fucking point of this, dude. It's to get these kids as young as possible, you know, prepubescent children, 6, 7, 8 years old, etc., to have this shit pushed in their heads, be gender confused by piece of shit fucking adults that claim to be teachers and stuff like that, etc., in their lives, and then put these kids down a path to transition surgeries to where you can have a doctor take a cut here, another doctor take a cut there, Big Pharma take cuts over here, etc. And yeah, you have these kids in lifetime pain. Chloe Cole, a detransitioner, one of many, but the best well-known one right now, is one of the greatest examples of this, man. This young girl, young teenage girl, I believe she's 18 or 19 now. Like I said, 13, 14 years old, double mastectomy. Figured out that she was actually not a fucking trans man, but she was actually a biological female that she was born as. A little too late, unfortunately. You know, finally detransitioned about 16 and a half, give or take. And is now in a lifetime pain. Literally talked Vivek Ramaswamy about this in an interview like a year ago is what it was. About how she is in constant pain. I think she talked to that Billboard Chris guy too, if I'm not mistaken, about the whole thing. And she's like, yeah, man, I walk around in constant pain every single day. From where the surgical scars are where her breasts used to be. And she is just one of many of these kids, man, that got fucked over by this shit. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it fucking infuriates me. And I don't want to say anything right now on camera that might get me, you know, fucking another knock on the door kind of thing is what it is. So I'm going to leave it at that, basically. So, pretty sure that kid's name was Jacob. If you're talking about the kid that calls themselves Jazz Jennings, now is what it is. Which, by the way, that last name was bullshit. It's they have a different name entirely, but they go by Jennings is what it is there. But yeah, again, going to the Munchausen by proxy thing, dude. It was the mother Jeanette in that situation that had fucking nutcase mental issues is what it was there from her own parent, from the grandmother there in that situation. And you had her push this shit on her fucking 3-4-year-old son when the kid wore his sister's dress one time. And then you had her and fucking Father Greg be like, you mean we can make money off of this shit? And that's what they did, basically. So they took their 4-year-old, 5-year-old son, dressed him up like a fucking girl, pushed him into fucking girls' soccer teams that they knew were girl-only soccer teams, by the way. So the soccer teams could be like, no, your son's a fucking boy. Like, get the hell out of here with that shit. We're a female-only soccer team here. And they're like, well, we're going to sue you for discrimination. And they did so like a few times, actually. It was like 2 or 3 times, if I'm not mistaken, different ones. Like different soccer leagues and stuff like that, where they were all females, what it was there. To include Jazz's ass into them was what it was there. And they won a bunch of lawsuit money off of that, dude. That's how they became multimillionaires, by the way. And then what's even more fucked up is you had Jazz themselves claim that they had their bottom surgery and stuff like that at 18, which it turned out they were actually 17 years old at the time. So you had these doctors, so-called doctors anyway, that in some cases actually were trans themselves, that were committing fucking adult surgeries on minors under the age of 18. And now, of course, what do you have in the last couple of years now? You have that fucking nutcase Jazz getting accepted to Harvard and stuff like that. And as far as I'm aware, the last season of the I Am Jazz show they did, they were finally getting into a relationship with, shocker, a fucking biological female. So your male hormone instincts actually took back over and you want to be with a chick, dude, is what it is. Unfortunately, you have no fucking dick anymore. Not that it was really going to work anyway, because you were putting hormone blockers so young that even the fucking surgery they did for your bottom surgery, they said they didn't have enough fucking skin there for your cock to turn it into a fucking fake pussy. To where when you actually saw those episodes of that series a few years back, now is what it was. You had the stitches pop and the shit literally fucking fall on the table when they finally got it back on the table is what it was there. That's what I'm talking about, dude. When I talk about the horrors of this shit, going back to that thalidomide stuff is what it was. That's the kind of horror shit we're talking about with these trans surgeries, dude. Where you have these kids being put on hormone blockers, etc., at like 10, 11, whatever it is, before they even hit puberty is what it is there. To where they don't have enough skin to actually do the surgeries for these kids. Or enough material, whatever it is, like I said, because the way they split the penis is what it is there, and making it into a fake vagina is what it is there, neo vagina, whatever we call it there. And to where the shit will literally fall out. Like the stitches pop and it literally falls on the fucking table and there's just like a big ass hole there now. Or like those other fucking horror stories that were in that show where you had the various clips going around last year or two again, making the rounds of fucking Jeanette being like, I have to wake Jazz up at 2 or 3 in the morning and give her the dilator to fucking literally dilate her fucking hole so to shut. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, y'all are seriously child abusers, man. And then you got fucking piece of shit Jacob Jazz themselves there going on a whole thing of trying to force kids to read their fucking little trans book in fucking schools and shit like that, dude, and push trans ideology on fucking kindergartners and stuff like that. Like, this motherfucker should also be in prison right now for fucking child abuse. Like, they're a victim of child abuse. They're also a child abuser now. It's kind of like the thing with pedophiles and stuff like that in this country. Where in many cases, like people like Seth Green and stuff like that, they were abused as children by pieces of shit like Timothy Busfield. And now, since they become adults, they're now abusing kids themselves is what it is there. It's fucked up, man. So, anyway, that's about it for today, though. I got to go. Got some stuff I got to do here in about 15, 20 minutes is what it is there. So I got to finish a couple things up here is what it is, and I'm going to head out then for a little while. But I'll be back here in about probably 4 or 5 hours. I'm going to jump to the other account now because I know for a fact this one's out of time is what it is for the month until the beginning of next year is what it would be then. So, yeah, we'll jump to the other account. We'll do a thing for Freedom Friday later is what it is there. And we'll discuss more about this topic and other stuff. And hopefully Corey and whoever else joins us, that'll be the case then. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And I will see you all hopefully later for Freedom Friday. If I don't do a Freedom Friday tonight, you guys will know why. I haven't slept well today is what it is. I might just be passed out at some point later on this afternoon. So yeah, if you don't hear from me in the next, like, I would say if you don't hear from me by like 5:30, 6 o'clock, like, just assume I'm not doing a show tonight is what it is then. I'll just do something tomorrow is what it is then. But, yeah, either way, Mike DeWine can go fuck himself. The General Assembly, as soon as it comes back in, needs to immediately override his veto come the new year is what it is there. And put HB68 into law, then is what it is. And on top of that, impeach this motherfucker once and for all is what it is, dude. Kick his ass out of the governorship. Boot John Husted out of the lieutenant governorship, etc. And maybe have Matt Hoffman take over the governorship for 2 years, what it is then. So, anyway. Have a good one, y'all. And I will see y'all on the next one later.